Well, good evening, folks. It's Menas here, coming to you from out the back of the Adelaide Oval. Day one of the Adelaide Test is over, and Australia have taken the honours. Unbelievable, down and out, but they've fought back. India won the toss, elected to bat. They were bowled out for 180. Mitchell Starc taking 6 for 48, his best figures in Test cricket. And at stumps, Australia negotiated a tricky last session to get through, just losing 1 wicket. I thought they'd lose 7 or 8 wickets, maybe even be bowled out in the session, but they survived. They just lost Usman Khawaja. Nathan McSweeney is not out, 38. Marnus Labuschagne, playing for his Test career, is not out, 20. Australia trail India by 94 runs. Lots to talk about. I'm going to go through the whole day. I was very pessimistic at one point when Rahul and Gill were batting, but Australia surged back into it. But I just left the press conference with Mitchell Starc, and he was spicy. You know, you'd think he'd be happy after taking his best figures, but he made a couple of comments about the media, said there was a lot of noise coming from this room before the test. He also said that the media sort of doubted that Mitchell Marsh would bowl in the match. He did bowl. He bowled 4 overs today. So one thing, you know, it seems like the media has fired up this Australian team. They've got that siege mentality, and that's really good because we needed something to fire them up because they were flat as a bloody tack in the first test. And I will say, if you're Mitchell Starc and you're going to come in and start making comments like that, I'm all for it. I was laughing away. I thought it was hilarious. He didn't want to answer many questions. Like, this team probably hates the media now. But if I'm Mitchell Starc and the Australian team, you better bloody win if you're going to start acting like that. Like, you've had one good day, but you're 1-0 down in the series. A lot of work to be done at the Adelaide Oval to equal the series. So if you're going to talk big like that, you better bloody win. And there wasn't much else to come out of the press conferences. The Indian bowling coach, Ryan Tendulkar, was there and sort of said that maybe the Indian team didn't pitch it up in the last session enough. But let's go through the whole day's play. A great day for Australia. So before play, India won the toss, elected to bat, and India made the changes we sort of predicted on the preview show. Obviously, Sharma came in and batted at 6, Gill came in and batted at 3, and Ashwin came in for Sundar. So all changes that we kind of thought would happen. Padikkal and Jurel went out, and then Sundar went out for Ashwin. And Australia was, as predicted, Boland coming in for Hazelwood, well, as was announced yesterday. So the game had so much action on the first day. To start things off, Mitchell Starc runs in and bowls an absolute peach of a Yorker and gets Jaiswal out first ball of the Test match. It has happened 3 times for Mitchell Starc in Test cricket, and Australia had India 1 for none. The crowd was up and about. The Aussies were fired up. But then we saw a beautiful partnership between Gill and KL Rahul. They took the score to 1 for 69, and it seemed there that India were in a great position. And before that, Australia had sort of played like they played in Perth. Missed chances, sloppy. So obviously Jaiswal goes first. Then the Indian batters get through the opening spell of Cummins and Starc. Cummins was bowling a bit quicker than he bowled in the first Test match. He was a bit fired up. But then Boland comes in, and Boland for his first ball in Test cricket since Headingley in the Ashes, and first ball he gets Rahul out, caught behind, but it was a no ball. So Rahul survived, and then a couple of balls later, Usman Khawaja dropped a catch he should have taken at first slip. So in the space of a few balls, Rahul had 2 lives, and then we saw Rahul and Gill bat very well and put together a very good partnership. And you know, you thought there when the score was 1 for 69, Australia would be in real trouble, but then they started to work through the Indian batting lineup, and at one stage they took 4 for 18. So if India went from 1 for 69, they lost 4 for 18, and then they slumped to 6 for 109. So it was a real turnaround from being 1 for 69. They lost 5 for 40 in a very short space of time, and it got Australia back into the test match. Boland took some wickets. Pat Cummins got pant with an absolute brute of a short ball. Stark got Coley, caught at second slip. Same dismissal as the first innings at Perth. Just playing at his body, playing wide of his body, opening the face, and being caught by Smith at second slip. So at that stage, we'd seen some really good bowling from Australia, either side of the dinner break or the lunch break, as is traditional. Boland was bowling well, Cummins was bowling well, Stark was bowling well. But then, as usual, some strange tactics from Australia. They allowed India to get away a little bit from 6 for 109. Ashwin came in and hit a quick 20. At one stage there, they were bowling Mitch Marsh when it really seemed like you'd want your best bowlers on trying to just knock India over as quick as possible. But Marsh bowled a few overs. India got a few easy runs. Ashwin made 22. And then Nitish Kumar Reddy was superb. He top scored. I think he top scored in the first innings at the Perth Test, and then he top scored here with 42. He played some audacious shots, some reverse sweeps, some laps, hitting the ball all over the place, and he was able to get that total up above 150 and then to 180 with some good late order resistance. Australia were a little bit I don't know, again, they just backed off a little bit. As I said, they bowled Marsh, allowed some of the tail enders to get in, get a sighter. Cummins spread the field at certain stages and, just allowed India probably some easy runs at the end there. I have to say, it was tough batting conditions. It was overcast, the wicket was a bit green. Stark was moving the ball, Boland was moving the ball, and Cummins was bowling quicker than in the first test. I told you in the preview, I thought Cummins was fired up. Thought he was going to come out here and try a bit harder. And he did. And that pant delivery, short ball, just bounced up at him, took the top of the bat, and he was caught. So India were all out for 180. Stark took 6 for 48. His best figures in Test cricket. He's taken 15 5-wicket hauls. And incredible performance from him. And as I said, he came into the press conference afterwards and he was very gruff. He didn't give a lot of expansive answers. He wasn't particularly rude or in a bad mood, but you can tell he doesn't like the media. But yeah, he's obviously happy with the performance. He didn't give any sort of insights into why he thinks he bowls better with the pink ball. And he didn't really say too much, but he feels that, Australia are in a better position. So, all right, for those who follow me on Twitter will know that when when India was bowled out for 180, that was the worst possible situation for Australia. You go out in the last, so they had to bat in the last session. So starting after the tea break, Australia struggling top order had to face Bumrah, Siraj, Rana with a new pink ball under lights. And I've got to say, I thought Australia was going to be in all sorts of trouble. I thought it was going to be very difficult. I thought if Australia could get through to stumps, just maybe losing 3 or 4 wickets, it would be a good result. But in the end, India just did not start well with the ball. Bumrah was swinging the ball too much. He couldn't control it. Rana and Shiraz just didn't quite get their line and lengths right, and Australia was able to leave too many deliveries. You could see balls swinging wide of leg stump and going for byes. I think there were 12 byes before Australia had scored many runs, like 3 boundaries got past Pant and, easy runs for Australia. So Australia started pretty well. Khawaja looked good, but then eventually Bumrah got him last ball of his 6th over. He was out and the score was 1 for 24. And at that stage, it seemed like Bumrah was going to come off at the end of the 6th over, but then he got Khawaja and he stayed on for 1 more. And that brought Marnus Labuschagne to the crease, who was, make no mistake about it, he was playing for his Test career tonight because Sam Constas was 50-odd not out. I'm recording.
We were going to record a YouTube video and we're sneaking into this mini over.
Sorry about that interruption. Khawaja is out, caught behind, and that meant he was out. And Bumrah gets the first wicket. So that brought Marnus to the crease. As I said, Sam Constas just had some punters here. I thought they were going to have security guarding me, but Cricket Australia told me they would have security. That's how important Cricket Unfiltered is. But they didn't have security, so instead I got interrupted. Anyway, mad manners. I should have unloaded on those guys. Little punks interrupting me. Anyway, all fun and games being on the road. So that brought, as I said, Marnus batting for his career. Sam Constance, 50-odd not out today for New South Wales. So a lot of pressure on Marnus to perform. And boy, did he. It took him 19 balls to get off the mark. But then he and McSweeney negotiated a very tough period, almost 2 hours under lights against the Indian attack. And they put on 62 runs for the partnership, unbeaten, 1 for 86 at stumps. Nathan McSweeney, probably he's coming of age as a Test cricketer. He won't get many tougher positions than coming in, under lights against Bumrah, and he's 38 not out. He was very watchful early on, but then he played a number of shots and was able to score pretty freely towards the end there. And he really announced himself as a class player. I really liked what I saw. India just bowled, they just didn't bowl full enough. They let Australia off the hook. And I will say it was hard for them because the ball was swinging a lot more than during the day. So, the ball was swinging a lot more during the day, and it was harder to control. Now, so a really good last session, but McSweeney was dropped. He was dropped in the slips by Pant and Sharma. It's probably the keeper's, was actually probably Sharma's catch at first slip. Pant dived across and deflected it, and McSweeney hadn't got off the mark there. So that's a costly drop for India. If they got McSweeney, we saw how well he batted, maybe they could have got into the game a lot more. So that meant Australia go to stumps, 1 for 86, 94 runs behind, and way in this Test match. And I think it's a great performance by Australia, but by no means is this Test match won by Australia. There's still a ton of work to do for Australia. They have to bat last here, so they really need to get a significant lead against India. And I don't think it'll be easy to bat tomorrow morning. Although the ball's 30 overs old, there's still enough with the pink ball that it's going to be a tough first hour tomorrow, but then if Australia can get through that first hour, they can maybe go on and take control of this Test match, get a commanding lead, and get back in the series by levelling it 1-1. Yeah, and I said in the preview I was going to be more optimistic. My optimism wore off after about half an hour. I tried to be optimistic, but I couldn't quite get into it. But then that last session, really good stuff by Australia. McSweeney was the class. He showed the class that I thought he had. And it was a terrific performance by him. What else today? Pitifully slow over rate. I mean, it was just diabolical. I think probably about 75 overs bowled in the day, which is a long way short of what it should be. And, we're really poor. But because Australia bowled India out under 80 overs, they don't get fined, which means it doesn't matter. All right, so a couple of other things. Today, over 50,000 people came into the Test match, and that is the fourth highest crowd for a day of Test cricket at the Adelaide Oval. And the other thing is the lights went out twice. So I don't know if you saw on TV, if you were watching, they've got these new LED lights, and they went out twice. Lucky it wasn't when a bowler was going to release the ball, but that's very concerning. Cricket Australia are going to update the media tomorrow about what happened, so we'll see. But that is concerning, and hopefully they get it sorted out. Because as I said, if the lights go off just as a bowler's about to release the ball, that is no good at all. That can be dangerous. So they got them on very quickly. I mean, these LED lights that go on and off like in an instant, like you're turning a light at home. Not like in the old days where if the lights went out, you'd have to wait for them to fire up again. But yeah, very strange. But great crowd, great atmosphere. It was a the crowd loved seeing their local boy McSweeney bat well in the last session, and it was a riveting atmosphere. But a topsy-turvy day. India got their nose in front, then lost a clatter of wickets, and just an impressive bowling performance. Mitchell Starc, 6 for 48. So, at the end of day one, Australia are back in this series, and this is the first day Australia have dominated. So there was a long way to go. They have to ice this one. They have to start tomorrow morning and get a lead, because they said you do not want to be batting last against India out here chasing a total. So they need to get a big lead and really stamp their authority on this game. Now, a couple of other things. Obviously, hanging around the media box, I had one disturbing conversation at lunch with a prominent commentator from SEN, and I put out the notion that if Australia lost this series 4-0 or 3-0, or if Australia got smashed in this series, should Pat Cummins stand down? And these prominent people said, no, he won't stand down. They think Pat Cummins will be Australian captain till 2027. And I find that quite depressing, because I just don't think he deserves that kind of... he just doesn't deserve to be given the position till that long. And I think if Australia were from here to stuff up this series, then I think he should go. But I seem to be in the minority. It seems like the general consensus is Pat Cummins is going to be the Australian Test captain for a number of years to come. And let's hope he can do better than he's done. Let's hope he's learnt the lessons, because Pat Cummins was not the same bowler he was in Perth, and I'm sorry, but you just cannot do that again. So, really. Anyway, what else did I see today? Not much. Aaron Finch stuffing his face with meat pies. Ricky Ponting having a go at him about that. A lot of media here, tons of media. Ian Botham waddling around as usual. But yeah, terrific day's play. We saw 11 wickets, a record haul for Mitchell Starc, his best in Test cricket, 6 for 48. And then McSweeney and Labuschagne. Well, Labuschagne has, I don't think he's saved his Test career yet, but it could have been over. It could have been, if he'd got out early today, I don't think there would have been much to save him, but he battled through. There's quite a bit of byplay between the Indians and Marnus. Marnus, he was usual exuberant self, but then, well, it's all happening here. We've got someone making a lot of noise. Anyway, he was being very exuberant, and the Indians were getting stuck into him. At one stage, some lunatic, drunk Adelaide Oval fan walked past the sight screen with the biggest beer snake I've ever seen, and Marnus rightfully pulled out of his stance just before Siraj let the ball go, but Siraj wasn't happy, so he threw the ball at Marnus in frustration, because Marnus had already pulled away. But it turned out Marnus was vindicated, because footage came up of the gentleman with the beer snake. Anyway, look, a very, very good day's play for Australia. They're back in the series. A lot of work to be done, but a great day for Mitchell Starc and a great day for Australia. I'll be back at the end of the second day with another wrap.